For 50 years, the Canada Games, or Jeux de Canada, has brought together Canada's young athletes, the best in their age groups, to compete in various sporting events under the motto Unity Through Sport. After the success of the first Canada Games in 1967, held during Canada's centennial in Quebec City, the Games have alternated between a winter and summer focus every 2 years, with the winning province or territory walking away with the Canada Games flag. The Games were first brought to New Westminster's attention in the late 1960s when Don Benson approached Rick Taylor and Glenn Lewis, both of the Columbian newspaper, to help him gain support for the Games. Benson, labeled Mr. Sport by the annual Columbian Awards, had served as the lacrosse chairman during the 1969 Canada Games in Halifax, Dartmouth, and saw the benefit the Games brought to both the participating athletes and the recreational facilities of the host cities, and he set to work advocating for New Westminster to host the Games. A formalized bid was put forth by New Westminster and Burnaby mayors Mooney Evers and Bob Priddy in 1969. Of the partnership, Mayor Evers stated, "We are prepared to stage the Games on our own, but we prefer to join with Burnaby." Competition was fierce, with 27 other cities across Canada bidding for the honour. The Canada Summer Games Society, led by Executive Director Denny Veach and Chairman Bill Ramsell, was employed to oversee both the ongoing bidding process, along with the fundraising and organizing efforts which would follow. The bid for New Westminster-Burnaby was approved in August 1970. In 1971, the contract for the Summer Games was officially signed, and the Games Society received funding from the federal government, with the province and host cities providing additional monies. Thus began a flurry of preparation, fundraising, volunteering, and community engagement. The two cities set about improving and constructing athletic facilities, with $1.5 million of improvements listed. To accommodate paddling and rowing events, dredging began at Burnaby Lake, along with the construction of a large dock. Plans for New Westminster's Canada Game pool became a reality, with construction beginning in 1972. The pool would be the Olympic standard size, 50 meters long, and would feature a state-of-the-art timing system. The pool was open to the public on January 26, 1973. Numerous fundraising initiatives began to take the burden off the city's taxpayers. The Games souvenir dollar was sold to supporters and accepted as currency from May 1st to August 15, 1973. Here, Mayors Bob Priddy and Mooney Evers ride a wagon through the streets of Vancouver to deliver one of the newly minted coins to Mayor Art Phillips. Mirroring the competitive nature of the Games, the mayors of the hosting cities had a friendly tile-selling competition for the Canada Games sports mural set to decorate Burnaby Mountain, with the loser buying the other dinner. Mayor Evers upped the ante and promised to also row across Lake Burnaby if New Westminster failed to sell more tiles than Burnaby. Mayor Evers also challenged other officials to the Rotary Club's walkathon to raise funds for the Games, rivaling aldermen from White Rock, Port Moody, and Maple Ridge. Notably, BC's first major lotteries launched April 6, 1973, to help offset the costs of hosting athletes during the Games. Tickets sold for $2 apiece, with $100,000 of cash prizes up for grabs. Individuals and groups in the community were counting down and eagerly preparing for the Games. Game Birds, a group of young women who served as official Games hostesses, also started their duties as goodwill ambassadors, attending endorsed functions and promoting the Games to the media. Institutions generously donated their spaces as well, with New Westminster Secondary School serving as the athletes' village, with room for 1,500 athletes, about half of the expected 3,000, and providing a recreation room, a chapel, counselors' rooms, a postal center, an infirmary, and a 1,200-seat auditorium where athletes could watch films between events. After nearly 5 years of dedicated work by New Westminster, Burnaby, and their tenacious residents, the opening ceremony for the third Canada Summer Games took place at Queen's Park on August 3, 1973. A parade of athletes from each province and territory greeted spectators, and the Canadian Forces Flypast Squadron gave a show overhead. With the reciting of the official oath, the Games officially began and ran until August 12, 1973. 16 types of sporting events were featured, including field hockey, canoeing, swimming, lawn bowling, cycling, shooting, and softball, among others. The young athletes performed spectacularly, with over 30 participants going on to represent Canada in the 1976 Summer Olympics held in Montreal. One of the future Olympians, Greg Joy, distinguished himself at the Canada Games by winning a gold medal for British Columbia during his 2.09-meter high jump, breaking the existing juvenile record. The athletes shone in their events, but the performance of the host cities and their volunteers cannot be understated. Over 4,000 people volunteered during the Games, donating their time, energy, and skills wherever they were needed. For example, local Girl Guide troops made beds at the athletes' village. Other volunteers prepared food and donated goodie bags for the athletes. Seamstresses stayed on hand to repair torn uniforms and athletic wear, and members of the Vancouver, Burnaby, and New Westminster fire departments drove athletes to and from venues and events. On August 12th, Burnaby hosted the closing ceremonies at Swangard Stadium. By the end of the Games, British Columbia had performed spectacularly, winning the Canada Games flag for the province and marking the first time a province had collected more gold medals than Ontario. The number of spectators was stunning, with 250,000 showing up to cheer the young athletes on, far surpassing the projected 150,000. Still more supported the athletes from afar, with millions viewing the sporting events from the comfort of their living rooms. Both hosting cities saw marked improvements to their sports facilities. Burnaby Lake continues to be a sought-after training ground for numerous rowing and paddling teams, and the Canada Games pool has served New Westminster for nearly 45 years. However, the indelible legacy of the Games comes from the community pride, partnership, and innovation it cultivated in the host cities. The 1973 Canada Summer Games showcased the community spirit and sportsmanship of both New Westminster and Burnaby, as citizens came together to make the Games a roaring success.